The time is 5 o'clock. Here is the world news at 5. First, the top stories. Ogun government suspends the installation of new ballet in the state. Presidency alleges plot to pit Yemi Osinbajo against President Buhari. Obasanjo says Nigeria must solve leadership problems to move forward. Presidential panel seeks to stop elected officials with pending election cases. On the foreign scene, Guinea sacks ministers after deadly teacher strike, and US generals ask Trump not to cut votes on diplomacy and development aid. Good evening, I am Simiat Abaru, bringing the news in detail shortly. Ogun State government has suspended the installation of ballets across the state until further notice. Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs Commissioner Chief Jide Ojukwu in a statement says the suspension followed the installation of 2 ballets within the same area in the state. The commissioner explains that the installation of parallel ballets has caused disaffection among the people in the area and threatens the peace of the state. Ojukwu also banned the Ogbonis and Oshubos from further interference in the process and selection of ballets in the state unless they are officially requested to do so by the authorities. The commissioner directs the 4 traditional councils in the state to comply with the directive, warning that no approval will be given for the installation of ballets in the state until further notice. Activities marking the 80th birthday celebration of Chief Olusegun Obasanjo and the grand opening of the Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library (OPL) Abuja will begin on Thursday, March 2nd in the Ogun State capital. The activities being coordinated by Center for Human Security of the Presidential Library will hold on Thursday and Friday at 9 a.m. at the main auditorium of the International Conference Center of OPL in Abuja. On Thursday, March 2nd, the director of the center, Professor Peter Okebukola, says there will be intercollegiate and inter-university debate. The same day, there will be a public presentation of Volume 1 of Olusegun Obasanjo's books for children, to be presided over by the State First Lady, Mrs. Funsho Amosun, and the International Youth Variety Day. On Friday, March 3rd, there will be an international symposium on presidential libraries to be presided over by the chairman of the governing board of the Center for Human Security and OOPL, Professor Akinwunmi Ambode. Governor Rotimi Akeredolu of Ondo State says he will not collect salary until the 8-month salary backlog of workers on the payroll of the state government is cleared. The governor, addressing civil servants in Akure, promises to put the issue on top of his administration's agenda. According to him, a committee will be set up to address the issues of unpaid salaries inherited from Mimiko's administration. He pleaded with medical doctors and nurses who are on strike to resume duty and enter into dialogue with his administration. The presidency has alleged a plot by some mischief makers of attempting to pit acting President Yemi Osinbajo against President Muhammadu Buhari. Buhari's special advisor on the political affairs, Babafemi Ojudu, in a statement says comments in some quarters comparing the performance of Osinbajo with that of Buhari is the handiwork of mischief makers. Ojudu, who accused those behind the comparison of promoting division between Buhari and Osinbajo, says the presidency will not allow it. He explains that Buhari and Osinbajo were elected on a joint ticket based on the manifesto of APC, which is being implemented. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has blamed the failure of Nigeria to realize its full potential on bad leadership. He warns that Nigeria will remain underdeveloped until it solves the problems of leadership, which, according to him, is critical. Obasanjo, speaking in Kaduna at the 2017 annual seminar of the Kaduna Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, admits that his generation failed to develop Nigeria economically, but delivered a united nation based on democracy. The former president says Nigeria's problems are not designed by God, considering the country's huge human and natural resources. He says the problems were created by bad leadership who failed to put Nigeria's huge resources to good use. A federal high court in Uyo has directed a senator, Basi Akpan, to vacate his seat as a member representing the Akwa Ibom State Northeast Senatorial District in the Senate. Justice Fatim Rima orders the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to immediately issue a certificate of return to a PDP senatorial aspirant, Basi Etim, and sworn him into office. The judge also gave Senator Akpan 90 days to refund all the money he received as emolument from the National Assembly. Justice Rima in the judgment rules that Basi Etim, and not the senator, is the authentic candidate of PDP at the 2015 senatorial poll. Meanwhile, the Presidential Committee on Constitution and Electoral Reform says it is considering the possibility of delaying the inauguration of elected politicians whose elections are being challenged in court. The committee chairman, Senator Ken Nnemani, believes the provision of such a clause in the proposed Electoral Act will discourage polls rigging and the mentality of winning polls at all cost. The former Senate president, who made the proposal in Enugu at the Southeast Zonal public hearing on constitutional and electoral reforms, also expressed concern over the rising cost of prosecuting electoral cases by politicians. Nnamani, who says the cost of post-election litigation is now far more than the electioneering campaign bills, contended that the present trend, whereby court determines who win the polls, should be stopped. Ado-Ekiti High Court has sentenced a 35-year-old man, Tope Owosheni, to a life jail for raping a 27-year-old woman in Ekiti State. Attorney General of the state, Owosheni Ajayi, who led the prosecuting team, told the court that the accused, who is a father of two, committed the offense on September 4 in 2014. He says the accused inflicted grievous harm on the woman, who was later admitted to her hospital. Justice Adekoyo Gumoye, sentencing the accused to a life jail, says the act of rape and defilement is now rampant in Ekiti State and that the sentence will deter other potential rapists in the state. You are still listening to the World News at 5 from Rock City 101.9 FM. Up next, we'll bring you foreign, business and sport news. Please stay with us. Guinea's President Alpha Conde has fired 3 ministers following violent protest over a teachers' strike last week, in which 7 people were killed and dozens more were injured. The Minister of Pre-University Education, Ibrahima Kuruma, and Civil Service Minister Sekou Kuruma were removed along with Environment Minister Christian Sagnew, though the decree, which was read on the media network, gave no reason for the dismissals. A senior government official said the sackings of Ibrahima Kuruma and Sekou Kuruma were directly linked to the strike. The government agreed to a deal to end the strike last week. Teachers in Guinea worked out early this month over the government's decision to dismiss or cut the salaries of many junior staff after the latest civil service exams. The students then took to the street to support them. The protests turned violent when demonstrators clashed with gendarmes in several neighborhoods of the capital, Conakry. More than 120 retired admirals and generals have urged President Donald Trump not to slash the spending on diplomacy and development aid. Retired General David Petraeus, a former CIA director, and retired Admiral James Stavridis, an ex-NATO Supreme Allied Commander, are among those who pressed Trump not to make good on his repeated threat to implement major cuts in those areas. The military brass, in their letter to congressional leaders, 2 cabinet officials, and Trump's national security advisor, said the State Department funding is critical to keeping America safe. Trump has proposed increasing defense spending by some $54 billion and want to cut a similar amount from the Environmental Protection Agency and State Department. Earlier, the Pentagon presented the White House with possible new battle plans to defeat the Islamic State group after Trump demanded top brass find additional ways to destroy the jihadists. In business, operatives of the Nigerian Customs Service have extended their search for smuggled rice to Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Last week, customs operatives in a dawn raid on shops at Songo in Ogun State seized more than 4,000 bags of rice and 100 kegs of groundnut oil suspected to have been smuggled across the border. In the latest raid on the warehouse in Ibadan, 9,000 bags valued at 88.7 million naira were seized. The agency's controller for Oyo Osun State Command, Tope Ogunkwa, who made this known to newsmen, says one person was arrested during the raid. The customs controller defended the raid far away from border, saying it was backed by the law. Finally, sport news. Struggling Leicester City have not listed Ahmed Musa for their first game since the sacking of the championship-winning manager Claudio Ranieri. Fans have kicked against Musa, who cost the Foxes £15 million last summer from Russian champion CSKA Moscow, saying he has failed to make an impact since his arrival. The fans have instead been rooting for 20-year-old Demaria Gray, who they argue has made a much bigger impact for their team this season. He has made 19 appearances and netted a goal in the league this season, while Ahmed Musa has played 18 games and scored 2 goals. Gray has started from the bench tonight. Another Nigerian star, Wilfred Ndidi, who joined Leicester City in the winter from Belgian club Genk, is the only player who has started Monday night's Premier League game against Liverpool. Celtic manager Brendan Rodgers has said Nigerian defender Efe Ambrose does not have a future at the club. The manager says Ambrose will be expected to therefore leave in the summer. This announcement comes just weeks after the UK home house rejected the central defender's loan switch to struggling English Championship side Blackburn Rovers because he has not played enough games for the Super Eagles in the last 2 years. Ambrose has not played for runaway league leader Celtic this season after he featured in 21 matches in the league for them last year. In his time at Celtic, he won 4 championships, 2 League Cup winners, medal, and the Scottish Cup. He joined the Scottish Kings in the 2012-2013 season from Israeli club Ashdod. That was the world news at 5, and just before we go, the major stories once again. Ogun government suspended the installation of new ballet in the state. Presidency alleged plot to pit Yemi Osinbajo against President Buhari. Obasanjo said Nigeria must solve leadership problems to move forward. Presidential panel sought to stop elected officials with pending election cases. On the foreign scene, we reported that Guinea sacked ministers after deadly teacher strike. And US generals asked Trump not to cut votes on diplomacy and development aid. For more stories and to listen to us live, please log on to our website www.rockcityfmradio.com/live. Thank you for listening. I am Simiat Abaru. Good evening.